Hello and welcome to Odds on Europa League and Conference League. Let's analyze the second leg of the semi-finals. Really interesting with Daniele Fisichella Alvaro Romeo. And of course, remember to leave your comments, press the like and subscribe. And now, let's go on with the show. Very open these semi-finals in the Europa League and in the conference. Difficult to tell who is gonna go to the final, but we have Dani and Alvaro to analyze these 4 games. Hello, by the way, of course, Alvaro, Dani. Let's start with the Europa League semi-final in Germany, Frankfurt, West Ham with the victory. Remember, 1-2 for the German team in the London Stadium. We had the London Stadium again full of Germans. Is gonna be this victory enough, Dani? We saw West Ham turning around the tie against Lyon in France, 0-3. Can we expect a comeback from the Hammers, or you think it's gonna be very tough considering how good Frankfurt is playing in this Europa League?
I think West Ham can have more than one hope to reach the final of Seville for a couple of reasons. First of all, because they left the best of the season for the Europa League this season. They've been very, very good, and they played against top teams in the Europa League, and they always matched them. I think it was a bit harsh, the defeat against Frankfurt. Maybe the occasion played a part, a little bit too much emotion. You know, sometimes when you play at home, if the environment is too much charged, it could also play against you. So they conceded after 1 goal, but let's not forget they had a massive chance in the end. Bowen hit in the bar. It should have been the goal of the year, the goal of the century for West Ham. It wasn't. Anyway, but again, when you look at the way they played at Lyon and they won 3-0, they were impressive. And finally, Moyes rested some players in the Premier League, of course. So the likes of Bowen, the likes of Antonio, the likes of Lanzini, they're gonna be a bit more Souček. They're gonna be more rested for this one. It is true that West Ham have dropped off a lot recently. Only 1 win in 6, but the key players are in form. Bowen has scored 11 goals. Mikel Antonio scored Bowen 15, Mikel Antonio 11 for West Ham in our competition. That's a very good tally for him. I think where West Ham were left a little bit needing and wanting was at the back. They had Zuma returning from an injury, but Zuma was one of the worst players. Dawson was a little bit doubtful as well, so they need to a little bit more solid at the back, etc. So obviously all the eggs of West Ham are in the Europa League basket. We said many times that the team is not deep enough to play both competition. In fact, they've dropped point in each of the last 4 Premier League games after a Europa League fixtures. They are winless in the last 4 Premier League games, but this is the biggest game in the last 30 years for them. And they can also hope that if they look at the numbers, that's the second home they can have. Eintracht at home, they're not great. They only won 1 in the Europa League in 5 games at home at Ball Stadium, although they are not. They never lost in the Europa League at home. And also, if you look at the Bundesliga home table, they are 3rd from bottom in the Bundesliga. Only score 19 goals in 16 games. They are much more of a counter-attacking team. However, careful, because against Barcelona, they had a very good game there. By the way, Eintracht Frankfurt plays on Monday, so West Ham slightly more rested. Could be an advantage. I don't think so. Over 2.5 goals for West Ham. Over 2.5 goals, in the game, not for West Ham. Over 2.5 goals has to be a high-scoring game.
Well, I'm sure Frankfurt is going to play the 3rd team because they have absolutely nothing to play for in the Bundesliga, and they are putting also all their eggs in the basket of Europe. Probably, as Dani said, Alvaro, they got an advantage slightly undeserved at the London Stadium.
Yeah, probably. I do like, by the way, the odd that Daniele has cherry picked, over 2.5 goals, that is 195, is very good. A few things. Number one, don't forget that West Ham United beat Lyon 3-0 away in the Europa League. They have done it, they can do it, they've been there, they've done that. And another thing that is very interesting, looking at both ties. I mean, no German team has ever played the Europa League final. The Europa League, we know that is kind of a new competition, 13, 14 years old. But still, there is a chance that finally we have a German team in the Europa League final because Frankfurt is there and because Leipzig is there as well. All that said, I think that we will be slightly wrong if we took much from whatever happens domestically into this game, because I believe that in the Bundesliga, yes, Frankfurt has been below par. Maybe they have disappointed their own expectations a little bit, but at the same time, for me, they are the best team in the Europa League so far. Really, look at what they did. They went unbeaten in their group stage in the Europa League, right? Which is a very good start. And then they beat Betis and they beat Barcelona. Betis is the Spanish Cup champion and Barcelona is Barcelona, and they deserve to beat Barcelona because at Frankfurt were way better than Xavi's team, and then at Camp Nou they did a fantastic game. So, I think that Frankfurt, whatever position they are in the Bundesliga, it doesn't matter so much. I mean, they are taking this competition very seriously and they are enjoying it and they are playing attacking football and they are putting so much intensity. They outmuscled Barcelona completely. And Kostic, for me, is probably the best player of the competition so far. I mean, when the big games started, Kostic started delivering. When it comes to West Ham United, yes, they have lost the last 3 games in a row. For example, they are in a bad run. But of course, the last 3 games have been against Arsenal, Chelsea, and Frankfurt at the London Stadium. They deserve maybe a bit more against Frankfurt the other day. But I think that, Frankfurt fans could tell you as well that they are legitimate winners because I think Frankfurt did a good game in London. I think that West Ham United at this moment, they are a little bit tired. They've been more maybe demanded physically lately because West Ham United, unlike Frankfurt, they still believe that they could qualify first for the Champions League and secondly for the Europa League via the league. I think that this is pretty much over now for them, but they can still qualify for the next Champions League if they win the Europa League, obviously. David Moyes did a little bit of rotations against Arsenal the other day. For example, Antonio, who has scored, by the way, only 3 club goals this year, he's not in a good run, didn't play the whole game, and Solsek neither. And, I think that David Moyes obviously is thinking about this game against Frankfurt. I think that this is the most important game they've got in this season by far, because if they get to the Europa League final, I mean, that's astonishing for them. And even Thomas Soucek said after the game against Frankfurt, first leg, that for some players, including him, the second leg will be the biggest game in their lives. So both teams are going to take this very seriously. And I cannot commit myself here for the outright market because I've seen Frankfurt beating Barcelona and I've seen West Ham United beating Sevilla and beating as well Lyon 3-0. So I'm going to go for the following. Both teams to score, very simple. And in the Europa League, I'm going to back the goals market a lot, also in Leipzig Rangers. Both teams to score 173 and the over 2.5 goals market that Daniele flagged. I really like it here, 195.
If you combine it, you get an odds of over 3, so it's always worth going.
Sounds good. Both teams targeting the competition from the beginning. We have to say that, and this is good because in other campaigns we are seeing teams dropping from the Champions League. These 2 teams took the competition very seriously from the beginning, going for the goals market. At the end, I will ask you your final, and I didn't know actually that no German side had qualified to the final of the Europa League, and perhaps we see a full German side final in Seville, because the next one is Rangers Leipzig. They came into the tie as big favorites also to win the competition, and they were able to get a slight advantage in the first game with that goal scored by Angelino. Danny, Rangers lost the Old Firm. I don't know how many times they played the Old Firm this season.
They drew.
They drew at the end.
1-1. But they lost. I mean, they played like 5 or 6. They won 1. They lost the other 2. Yeah.
And they are not going to win the title. We know
exactly.
it now.
No.
Celtic is virtually champion already.
So, Danny, do you see Leipzig winning at Ibrox Park? Can you see Rangers with a great comeback? I guess it's going to be a great atmosphere also in Glasgow. Leipzig to win pays 2 in the other game. The odds were more or less balanced here. The bookies place Leipzig very favorite, even playing in Scotland.
I see Leipzig playing in the final. I don't know if they're going to win at Ibrox, but I think Domenico Tedesco's side are one of the finalists. They were better than the Rangers at home. Not scintillating as they used to be recently, but they were they had the best chances. And, you know, also away, there's such a very, very, very good record. Leipzig, they won at Bergamo, they won in the previous round of the Europa League. I think Leipzig, yes, there's the issues at the beginning with Jesse Marsch. Since they changed the manager, it's a completely different team. They are a Champions League team, I think, more than a Europa League team. So I think they will be in the final based on the quality, based on what they've seen. You know, Leipzig, they rarely do not score, only fail to score one in one of their 22 games in the new year. So you could expect them to go to Ibrox and score if Nkunku has got his shooting boots on. He missed a couple of chances in the first leg. Now, when it comes with Rangers, they've been unlucky because they've had the injuries that have really halted the chances to progress in the Europa League final. They are without Morelos. They might be without Kemar Roof. And you could tell the issue with playing without the best forwards in Germany. The ball was always coming back. It was not sticking. And then Van Bronckhorst changed the formation a little bit to give a little bit more protection to the back three. And in fact, play with a 5-3-2, which normally they don't play. So they had Bright and Kent wide behind Aribo. The strange because, you know, Sakala could have been the only striker to play there. Then when he came on, had a good game. Sakala, by the way, scored against Celtic at the weekend. Was the man of the match. So let's see what Van Bronckhorst does, whether he sticks again with this bit of a cautious approach, or if he go maybe with Aribo and Sakala, both two up front, you know. But Rangers in Germany, they went there and tried to contain Leipzig. They didn't have much of the ball, only 29%. I know it doesn't say a lot, but that's the less they had in the entire Europa League campaign. Very few touches in the opposition box. Actually, I think only 8 touches between Ken, Bright, Aribo and Sakala in their opposition box. Now, what comes to Rangers, we have to say this season has been good. They are in the final of the Scottish Cup. Let's not forget, they changed the manager in November. They had a very good structure working with Steven Gerrard. They were unbeaten last season domestically. They had a good campaign in Europe. And then when they switched, when they changed, when Gerrard went to Aston Villa, Van Bronckhorst came, and there's been a 10 points swing to Celtic in the league. Celtic were very behind from Rangers, and now they are ahead. They're going to win the title next week because they got an easy game. So credit to Rangers for readapting, but I think this is the end of the road for them. The odds for Leipzig to win are good, but you know, Rangers are home in the Europa League. They've been decent as well against Braga, against Dortmund, against Red Star Belgrade. So I'm gonna go for two picks combined. Double chance X2 and both to score. If you put them together, that's 231.
Right. Danny mentioned Jesse Marsch, great season for the American. He had Leipzig in the middle of the table in the Bundesliga, and he's about also to go down with Leeds. Perhaps, Alvaro, how do you see this Rangers Leipzig? By the way, Leipzig was super bad under Jesse Marsch playing away, and Tedesco turned around the situation completely because they were winless with Marsch in the Bundesliga playing away.
Yeah, I don't want to be too cruel with Jesse Marsch because he was taking over not the impossible job, but a very difficult one after Julian Nagelsmann. But you have to compare, obviously, the numbers of Tedesco and the numbers of Jesse Marsch to realize that something could have been done better back in August, September, October, November by the American coach at Leipzig. Anyway, one thing that passes me about this game, and I didn't say this in our previous show, is that Leipzig is 137 years younger than Glasgow Rangers. This is a bit of trivia. I wonder, Edu, Daniele, if we have ever seen a game with such an age difference between the two contenders. Really, 130. One of the teams was founded in 1872, the other one in 2009. Anyway,
well, maybe when AFC Wimbledon played Liverpool in the FA Cup, because AFC Wimbledon are a very young team, and Liverpool are, or Manchester United, whatever. Anyway.
That's a brilliant point, actually. Yeah. I mean, there must be very few precedents, but if anything, that one is one of them. I think that Leipzig right now, they are also quite troubled domestically, because they have to play on Monday against Gladbach, and they have a chance to regain the 4th spot from Freiburg, and this is a must for them. They have to win the next season Champions League, because a team of this caliber with these players, they have to win the Champions League. They cannot miss it. So both teams, they have been quite demanded domestically speaking, with Rangers, as you well said, Edu, just drawing 1-1 with Celtic in the weekend. But anyway, if you show, for example, the game in Germany, the truth is that Leipzig was better than Rangers, even though the most dangerous chance of the game, apart from the one that Nkunku missed, was for Kent. It was an excellent chance after a step over. He shot wide, but that was very close for Rangers. And generally speaking, Leipzig dominated more, and we were expecting that, because they got probably a system more prepared to dominate games. And Nkunku had 3 chances, Leiner had another one, a great defending by one of the Glasgow Rangers centre backs. Then Angelino had chances as well. By the way, I don't recognize Angelino with long hair. I mean, it's very difficult for me, because he's been always shaved. But anyway, he's got long hair now. And generally speaking,
lucky him.
Lucky him. We thought that he was bald, but he's not. He was just shaving for fun. I mean, I hate these people. But yeah, Rangers, they don't dominate as much. I think that their football is a little bit more passionate than anything, and Leipzig, they've got maybe a better system in place. This weekend, it's true that Rangers did a few rotations, thinking about the game against Leipzig. For example, I think that Arfield, Davis and Sakala played for Ryan, Jack, Kamara and Scott Wright, so a little bit of rotations in there. Then in the weekend also Sakala got applauded for doing a very good game against Celtic. Will this be enough to knock out Leipzig? I'm not too sure about that. Let's see how Leipzig finishes the game on Monday against Gladbach. Hopefully there will be no injuries for them, because this game against the Rangers is very important for them. They have never won a European title, and Leipzig is close to making it to the final. So I'm going to go for the following. Both teams to score. I like this one. It pays 176. I love it, because the last time Rangers did not score a goal at home was in September. So I think that there is a pattern in there. When they play at home, they tend to score a goal. Then losing or winning is a different story. And a double chance for Rangers in the first half is something a little bit perhaps stingy, because it pays 1.5. But I think that in the first half, they will put everything they've got on the pitch. And if you combine those two, well, 1.5 and 1.76 together, it gives you something over perhaps 2.5. So it's a decent combination. So I will go for those ones. Yes, both teams to score and a double chance for Rangers in the first half.
Okay, and closing with the Europa League, your final, guys, would be?
For me, it's Leipzig, as I said, West Ham.
Oh. Alvaro?
Yeah, just to say something different, a German final, Leipzig, Frankfurt.
For sure.
We haven't had a German final since 2013.
In London, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich. For sure, the winner of the final is going to be the bartenders in Seville, having Germans or British. I'm sure they will sell a lot of beer at the end of May with the hot weather.
A lot of Cruzcampo.
A lot of Cruzcampo, exactly. Probably the worst beer we have in Spain, but they will enjoy it fresh. And then let's switch.
Careful, because they sue you. They sue you. People who see that, they sue you.
Send me Cruzcampo, I can judge again. Then let's move to the conference. The final is going to be played in Tirana, in Albania, in the Olimpico. Dani, I'm sure there are already people in the stadium. because Roma are willing to play a European final again, and they have a good result, I would say. The draw they got in Leicester, they drew also at the weekend with Mourinho switching a lot of players. Of course, Leicester lost against Tottenham. What do you expect apart from a great atmosphere? I'm sure it's going to be mental in the Olympico, as we saw against Liverpool actually not long time ago.
Yeah, this is the first semi-final since that game against Liverpool, and Roma hoping to reach the third European final of their history. They lost the last two, the European Cup final against Liverpool again in 94 and the UEFA Cup final against Inter in 1991. Looking for the third. Yes, Rome is buzzing, living for this game. And rightly so. They took this competition, we have to say, really, really seriously. This Conference League. They got their ups and downs. They got a bad defeat at Bodo Glimt, 6-1 in the group stage, but that kicked on the season. Since then, Mourinho learned who are the players he can trust, who are the players he doesn't want to see, not even in the dressing room, and he done a little bit of clear there. A few signings in January which mainly worked, especially Oliveira. Roma looked threatening. Now, against Leicester, it was a good professional performance from Roma. I think that was the game that Mourinho had in mind. A majestic performance from Smalling, really good at the back. But we have to say Roma, for long spells of the game, they were second best. Leicester had a better rhythm, they were quicker, they moved the ball better, they created more chances. Now Roma needs something different now, playing at home. They cannot just hope to hit Leicester on the counter, although they were doing it really good in the game, in the action for the goal with Zalewski. What a great season Zalewski is having, you know. Not many people talk about this. Very good left back. The plays for Poland. Is Italian, by the way, but he's already been snatched by Poland. And then also with Abraham being able to hold the line. Abraham, Pellegrini partially rested in the draw 0-0 against Bologna. And also Roma are officially out of the Champions League next season. Already Juventus and Napoli, Inter and Milan are mathematically qualified. So it's all about this game. The weekend game in Firenze doesn't matter. The problem with Roma is, can they win the big matches? This season, they've only beat Atalanta home and away. Never won a big match this season. Never won a big match last season. Well, the derby, that's true, but it's a kind of it's not. Well, okay, yeah, let's say they won the derby. It's true. Credit where credit due, but they lost the previous derby anyway. Last season, with Under Fonseca, not win a great match. I mean, I think that Roma season is defined by this game, really, and maybe by the final in Tirana. Because if you look at the numbers, it is disappointing. They only got one more point in the table compared to last season, and that was not why they signed Mourinho. They signed Mourinho to take a step forward and to be more competitive in big games. Now, they need, I think, to qualify, Roma need to hope that this is a low-scoring game. If this is a high-scoring game, I can see Leicester having more resources to hit Roma. But because I think Roma are better defensively than Leicester. If it's a 1-0, 2-0, let's say if it's an under 2.5 goals or up to 3 goals, Roma got the chances to qualify. Leicester only failed to score once in the last 11 Premier League games. They need to make sure they keep them on bay. I'll tell you my ACCA, who I think he qualifies. But I think it's going to be a very emotional game, and I think it's going to be an over 2.5 goals game, which might reduce the chances for Roma to qualify to 12.
And surprisingly, Roma supporters are very happy with Mourinho, despite I agree with Danny that the campaign is going to be disappointing if they don't qualify for the Europa League at least, or finish 5th in the Serie A and achieve at least the final in this European tournament. Alvaro, how do you see this semi-final, Roma-Leicester?
Well, I'm going to back Roma. And in this Conference League chat, you will see that I'm gonna back the home teams to go through, because I think that Marseille will also make it. But anyway, let's go with Roma. I think that there is a great understanding between Roma tifosi and Mourinho. Daniele can expand on that. For whatever the reason, Jose Mourinho has activated some, maybe nostalgic, emotional fuses that the Roma supporters like as well, and that's unquestionable. And against Bodo Glimt, they were terrible and all that, but they learned from that game. And against Leicester City, they produced a very professional display, I believe. And Leicester City this season doesn't give me any certainties. The thing is that my trust on Roma is not very big, or it's not as big as it would be with a big Italian club, like any other. But the thing with Leicester City is that this season I don't have any certainty with them either. Just a few numbers. For example, in 2022, they have won only 3 games away. 3 games away, they beat Randers, they beat Burnley, and then they beat PSV and Doven. But going to Roma and playing a games like this demands the best of you away from home, and Leicester this season hasn't been good away. Then I believe that the injury of Wilfred Ndidi has had a really seismic influence in Leicester's season as well, because the other day against Spurs, for example, I could see that Leicester City were missing Wilfred Ndidi's physicality, quality on the ball, capacity to carry the ball as well. Leicester doesn't have that anymore, and the best players of Leicester, they've been a little bit inconsistent this season. Yuri Tielemans, who is going to leave, didn't have a season as good as the previous one, and Yuri Tielemans was instrumental to win the FA Cup last season. Jamie Vardy, 10 goals. Obviously, he's almost at the wrong side of his 30s, almost there. He was born in 1987. So if he's not 35 already, he's going to be 35 very soon, and he scored only 10 goals. In comparison to his goal tally, that's not enough. James Maddison, injuries haven't helped him a lot either. I believe that the defense hasn't been great. So I think that this Leicester City campaign has been really long. Brendan Rodgers has tried his best, but the team is not delivering so well. And if you see them in the table, you will see that they are struggling a lot this season. And for example, I can't forget that they lost 7 games in a row between the 12th of December and the 20th of February. Away from home. This is really bad. So Leicester City doesn't give you any certainty away from home this season. And I think that Roma may have the know-how. Mourinho certainly has it, because Mourinho has been there. He has won the Champions League, the Europa League, and he knows how to prepare a team to win a competition. So I'm going to go for the following. Roma to win, 219. And if not, I will go for something more simple. An Asian handicap of, is it minus 0.25 for Roma? That pays 185, meaning that if you win, or if Roma wins, you win, and if they draw, you get half a lose, the decaf double chance, as I call it. I like that one too.
Leicester already lost a match ball in Italy. It was in the Europa League.
Against Napoli.
That's why they are playing this competition. You both place Roma as favorites. The other game is Marseille Feyenoord. We expected a lot of goals in Holland, and actually,
I didn't. I got it wrong.
You didn't?
I thought St. Pauli was gonna stifle them. Yeah, whatever.
At halftime, we already saw 4 goals. Feyenoord had the lead, 3-2. They won, but Marseille, they are favorites to win this game, 2.25. St. Pauli's team were on holidays against Lyon on the weekend. Danny, do you expect goals this time? Or
well, you have to. Yeah,
but there is no money in the goal market. That's the problem.
No, exactly.
You have to expect many goals to make some money out of it.
Because Feyenoord is crazy actually with goals.
Absolutely.
To score is only 150.
The money market is for the ACCA. If you have to pick, if you do an individual pick, you need to be a little bit more creative. I wasn't expecting a high-scoring game at the Coupe, but in the end, I think what happened is that Marseille kind of handed themselves to Feyenoord. They play a very high line. Feyenoord unpicked them with a lot of balls over the top for the very quick striker, Dessers and Sinisterra. And in the end, the game was almost too frenetic for Marseille. Marseille is a kind of team that likes to keep the ball, keep possession, switch it from side to side. If the game is a lot of coming and going, that's where this Marseille suffers, because Marseille, in them, they haven't got a lot of goals. They are not a very high-scoring team. If you look at the top scorers in League One, the best scorer is Payet with 12 goals, which sits 12th on the table. It's more of a team that likes, again, to keep possession, slow the game down. But the Feyenoord is completely different. The Feyenoord is just basically attack, concede some make some mistakes, and then yes, I mean they forced a mistake. The last goal for Feyenoord is a mistake from Duleta. So maybe if that doesn't happen, Feyenoord, I'm not sure. I think maybe they could have found an opening any way. But Feyenoord are in good form. You know, they won 7 of the last 8, and they scored 35 goals in the last 12. They also scored 3 at the weekend. However, here I think if it's a low scoring game, that suits Marseille. Marseille have kept 19 clean sheets so far this season in all competition, but can they keep it a low scoring game when they need to go on the front foot straight away, and Feyenoord could hit them on the break? This is very open, by the way. Marseille could have the experience, but again, the occasion could play the part, you know, big full stadium, etc., which, you know, could be an advantage, could be a disadvantage. At some point, as I said, you have to be creative. Double chance, 1x, so I don't think Marseille are going to necessarily lose this one, and both to score, that pays 221. So, for example, 2-1 for Marseille, and you win, 1-1, you win, etc. So anything that is not a defeat for Marseille, and both to score.
Checking the market to qualify for the final, Alvaro, we have Feyenoord 1.48. Marseille to qualify pays a lot. It's 3 actually, so it's kind of high.
Wow, it's good.
I know, and then winning pays 215, which is perfectly right to me already, because they are playing at home, and you know, they have to use the home factor. So over there is a very good value already. Marseille to win 215. Actually, I'm going to take it for the ACCA because I believe that this can happen. Marseille to qualify, by the way, is 262. So, you know, if you want to spice it up a little bit more, there you go, your good money. But yeah, I think that Feyenoord they bring this advantage into the Velodrome, but at the same time, Olympique Marseille, before losing against Olympique Lyon this weekend, because they couldn't care less, because they are going to qualify for next season's Champions League. Before they lost against Lyon this weekend, it was on Sunday, they had won 5 games in a row at home. Against Basel, against Nice, against PAOK, against Montpellier, against Nantes, you know, opponents from different calibers, different leagues, different qualities, and Marseille did the job. And, you know, generally speaking, I think that Sampaoli knows that Marseille can do it. In fact, he was very disappointed with the performance against Feyenoord, and he said that in this sort of competition, you cannot make this mistake. So he will probably try to tackle that ASAP, because the other day he conceded 2 goals in the first half. Was it 2 goals in the first half? Yeah. That's then they scored 2 as well in the first half, I believe. But, you know, that's something that Marseille has to stop literally now, because otherwise they are going to suffer a lot. So I believe that Marseille for this game is going to have a better game plan. They kind of rested against Lyon in the weekend. Then I think that generally speaking at home they score a big deal of goals. In fact, only Monaco and Lyon have left Marseille scoreless in 2022 at home at the Velodrome. So generally speaking at home they know how to score. So I'm going to go for that, for Marseille to be the first team to score, which is a market that I never go for, but I believe that here the Velodrome is going to play a massive part. So Marseille to be the first team to score 180. I think that this one is quite speculative anyway, but the value is very good in there. And Marseille to win 215. I'm going for that one, and I'm going to keep it for my ACCA too.
All right, checking, by the way, the odds to win the conference, I strongly recommend you to take a look at the odds, because are very high for any team, and I think it's very difficult to predict at this point, to be honest, but Roma is 3, Leicester and Feyenoord 4, and Olympique Marseille 5, so even putting a small amount of money in a couple of them could be a good option for you. What is your final then, Danny?
Marseille.
Alvaro?
Yep, the same one.
Same?
It's the same one.
All right, then let's finish the video with the ACCAs. Alvaro, this time yours.
Yeah, very simple. I mean, I'm going to put together the Europa League and the Conference League. I can do it like that or separately. I mean, for the Europa League, it will be both teams to score in the Frankfurt West Ham, and Rangers Leipzig, both teams to score as well. That pays 3, all right, for the Europa League alone. And for the Conference, is Roma to win and Marseille to win. That pays 4.7. If you put it all together, you will get a total of 14.1. That will be my ACCA for the conference and the Europa League combined.
Not stingy, in this case.
No, not this one, not this one.
Danny,
Okay, let's go with mine. A little bit less than Alvaro this time. Eintracht Frankfurt, West Ham double chance x2. Rangers Leipzig over 2.5 goals. Roma to qualify. Olympique Marseille against Feyenoord over 2.5 goals. Put it all together, 8-13.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. See you very soon. Bye.
Ciao, speak soon.
Right, bye-bye.
Who do you think are gonna play the final of the Europa League and the conference? Remember to let me know in the comment section, and of course, press the like and subscribe. And remember that we do have also a podcast for you. Thanks for watching. See you soon.